We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the streets. We'll figure something out. Yes? What about me? No.
The lieutenant nods.
Good. Let's change the subject.
No response. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even. A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
Hello again, sweetie.
It's the ledger you found in the... Oh, and the cool piece of... The face of King Freecell smiles at you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns. Why they decided to title this one section In Volda is beyond you. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has two bylines: Nasteb Enkalada Bernal and Exilus Buka. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudonyms. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a frita. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
Come on. Can this article read your mind? Well, there you have it. No reason to get hung up on the pretentious ramblings of a few young men. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take...
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before...
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay. I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure? Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I don't know. Is it? I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here. I think it's called Roy's Nest or something. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian knights.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. I don't like either set very much, to be honest. But there are many parents among my customers.
Everything you pick out seems faded, chipped, and sad somehow. Most of them are just broken toys. Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Heimdall burning.
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm a fan, but I do think the Heimdall saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Heimdall really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Heimdall didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Heimdall, and watched northern lights travel across the sky.
It's for the best, because Heimdall is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay. But please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy. 2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I deal in goods, not services. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
How would I know? Parolidon is just something since the People's Power disaster. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade. Had to take it for radiation sickness.
He's taking it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forberg as I can. Still in the same city, but... I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another. Alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the Force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everard wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. I told them I already sold it. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Wait, then it might be true. Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Of course.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump-a-mesque banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything.
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. What should I have for it? No, just people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we?
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. He won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
Here you go, man. Of course.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
What a shirt. All
By the shirt. Sleep.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. A lot. For the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Yes?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
Let's go.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit. Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit below it all.
I apologize, but I only brought one with me. I have exactly one cigarette every night while going over my notes. Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Rebachol. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. Yes, the last time was 4 years ago.
He has internalized it well. It's just that. A fact. A self-contained past event.
That's an improbability, perhaps even impossibility. Precinct 41 is known for a higher than average rate of police violence. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courant and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCN. Silence. A great comment to such a conundrum. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of Martinez, most of them at least, especially the Union. Vigilantes. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough, and we have solid leads to follow up on. Then you shot the body down, which was quite the shot. I admit I wasn't sure whether I should give you the gun, but I'm glad I did. Your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we missed something, but it's up to the boys in processing now. We did perform a thorough search of the crime scene. That's great. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. Very important indeed. Well, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
He's not saying much on the matter because he thinks you could have gotten more out of Everard.
Well, we will have to work through that. Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. You can look into the process of changing your name after we finish this investigation. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsuragi's glasses light up as he looks to the sky. Two glowing circles.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different in land, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go. Yes?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. It's the ledger you found in the trash. Oh, and the cool piece of toilet paper is stuck to the back. It's just toilet paper sticking to the back of the plastic clipboard. You can take it off if you want. Still wet, the toilet paper peels off the plastic easily. All you have to do is shake it off with your finger and voila! The ledger now looks marginally better. An aluminium block runs the width of the board, biting down on the paperwork. Its crocodile teeth are the only thing keeping the papers together. A regular pencil, the tip worn down to nothing, has been attached to the clip. The surface is interrupted by a silvery sticker. It's rectangular, sparkling with iridescence. You don't know how you didn't notice it before. Looks like an official mark, made to be low visibility outside the right circumstances. To be honest, you have little to no idea. You're dumb and alone. Somewhere, not here, the helpful Lieutenant Kitsuragi is making notes in his blue notebook. He tilts it ever so slightly. A glowing rectangle catches the light. He could advise you with this. The next moment, a bunch of sodden papers sag from the clipboard in your hand. It's a sorry sight. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average. What do you mean? Is that all? Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. A title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the hookah parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close. There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. Sadly, the ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It's unfitting of this monumental event. The ledger only comes with an old, worn-down lead pencil. It will do, barely. But onto the paper with a brash free hand, uncannily similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. You're a swashbuckler with that pen, Harry, and it feels good. Feels like completion. Things to be done, and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. This would be a good time to finally name the case. If only Lieutenant Kitsuragi were here, so you could coordinate. No use naming it without him. Maybe at a later time, you can come back to this. Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. The notebook is Annon. It says 51 on what remains of its cover. A molten strap of cardboard. Everything prior to this must have belonged to a previous volume. In short, there was more. A lot, a little. You have no idea. This all depends. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. In the back, you see thin, translucent copy paper. Some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms, waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real, but that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields. But they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. All in a print so small it could be considered downright cute. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being said, it's made of dark blue plastic, hard enough to beat someone to submission with. The edges are rounded, however. The U4 size board feels thick and heavy in your hand. Light shimmers on its wet surface. On the back you see the embossed letters, RCM. Something rattles inside, ever so lightly. Is there a hidden compartment? And something small inside, light, made of paper or cardboard, or dried flowers perhaps. Permeables. It's not hidden per se. The compartment is made for permeable materials that would get damaged if something happened to it. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but it is not see-through. You cannot see to its center. With your hands, U4-sized pages hang from the clip screwed to the top of the board. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend the plastic on your knee, slowly, the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. Thin wax paper has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Sounds like leaves rustling when you pick it up. You see violet flowers, floral patterns, patches of glue. It smells of chewing gum, apricot flavored. A touch of cinnamon, the end of summer. You think the label says tutti frutti. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters in a woman's hand. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile, you think. Although that is not something you can read from someone's handwriting. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. Outside, you hear the wind howl. A sudden gale blows in from Martinez, flapping street signs and window blinds.
Come outside.
Your hand shakes, holding the card. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You, Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. Sparks fall like snow from the bow collector, a streetcar distancing. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
我又死了吗？我又死了？
There is nothing. Again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below you, that's still there. And the small light that's on, fluttering, somewhere in the basal ganglia. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion. Even in the darkness he's grasping for it. Still trying to hold on to the great sorrows slipping in the water. Slimy. Here in the paleo-mammalian cortex, we call it the shadow. Because it's always there.
Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so. But as they say, what do you do?
Yeah, man. Fuck everything. Total blackout forever. Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing.
Beautiful. Believe me, stupid ape, its lack of beauty was not the problem.
There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on pause. Your name is fuck all.
It certainly ain't Harry. Your name is passed out on the ground, dragged around by one of the other evil apes. They're taking you somewhere.
Yeah, man. What was that about? You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Yes, they're pouring something on you. It's in you. And
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage seated in the driver's basket. The air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water.
Drink. Water. No drink.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration. That's just a drug addict myth. In reality, you're still comprised of dihydrogen oxide, which you must replenish to go on living.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? There was a call on the shortwave. Officer passed out in Martinez. I had a feeling it would be you. I'm glad I got here in time. I don't know. It could have been quite a while. That does sometimes happen.
He replies with such understanding, it's as if the burnt-out ruins of the past were an occupational hazard. Athlete's foot for cops.
I found this next to you. I'll tag along for the rest of the day if you don't mind. My business is concluded anyway. Are you okay to go? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an
Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then, past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board. With the permeables drawn. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB 41. Then, date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120117000, the Next World Mural. 41 is your precinct. It's safe to say those are the initials of the officer responsible for the case. Your initials. Harry Dubois, HDB. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. Cause of failure: rent too high. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class." People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lectures have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us. No one cares what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger. What do you want to tackle next, or are we done? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. Without resistance or sound, the 2 panels move against each other. The compartment is now open. Inside, you see 2 ticket stubs and a handmade postcard. It's slightly. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium.
What?
Everything. The pale and the useless. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do. Even in your dreams. And the actors wearing thin. The spots of the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? Your mind is what now? I can't hear you. The rest is just a word dream. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Yes, wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again and ready to detect. Ready to go to war against the world. Of course, Martinez is speed central. You just gotta poke around, follow your nose. You and Speed will be happy again. You will make her come home. This time, it will be different.
Morning. I've got some good news. I took care of the body. The thought of him decomposing in my MC wouldn't let me sleep. Well, he's in processing now. We have other matters to attend to. The Union muscle finally turned up, and they look rowdy. We need to talk to them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. Everything points to the Dock Workers Union. The belt used for hanging him, tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The Union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. You have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The waterlock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the waterlock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise...
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
Yes, extremely normal. I'm not a gardener, by the way. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Buford that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everard sent to law school?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
Even though she has excellent control over herself, something moved behind her eyes, in the way she stands, in her face.
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to question these men. What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
What are we going to do to you? The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress.
This is where you say your bed.
He and his men carry themselves like giants. You'll need to prove your mettle to be taken seriously.
Detective.
Wow. The RCM sent us some big dick cops.
Real big dick cops. Look at them. Reckless. Swinging in the wind.
Yeah, look at the big dick on that cop. Can't tell a dick that big what to do.
Must be something in the water in Jamrock.
Yeah, gave them real nice big dicks.
Yeah. Anyways.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man. In his 30s. Overbearingly masculine. Wants the world to know he's a macho man. Tobacco chewing and knuckle cracking. Who else do we have here? Sitting on his right, standard working boots. Size 45 or 46. Eldest in the room. Probably mid-50s. Smoker. Quiet. Across, at the other table, hobnailed working boots. Size 43. Gang tattoos. Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella?
What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy, and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. In. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
So, you're not just here to swing your big dick. You're here for the pretty boy. A real looker, that one. Stinks like shit, too.
They love him, boss. Spend all day digging around in there. Can't get enough of that pretty boy smell.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Container belt, like we use in the harbor? Because we took it from the harbor where we work. Then we went out back and used it to hang him. We did this together, all of us, until he was dead. That's why there's a container belt around his neck.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out alive.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hired merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation?
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. That was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. He started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls, grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah, this girl's on the mic, a beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake, the fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle, doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you.
He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a Hardy Boy without arresting all Hardy Boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
That's for the courts in Les Jardins to decide, not for the officer making an arrest, which we all know you won't be. What you can do right now is go back to your station and write a report.
No. We'll stay here and discuss what happened that night.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
The lieutenant goes in for the leg sweep. Titus does not see it coming.
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, capo. I'll say it again. We killed him.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clapped him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up. Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others, but... Elaine, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. Definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid, too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there. Him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there.
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
Samaran boxing, or Sambo, is an eloquently violent set of one-on-one fighting moves, originating from the Samaran Isola. Sambo style implies stealth, cleverness, and cool. He may be lying, but he's good at it. No twitching, no rushing, no uncalled for details.
No. Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
And fuck you too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit. And just so you know, he doesn't have trouble breathing.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Right fucking here. Eugene already told you that the fuck had started coming to our bar.
Yeah, man, weren't you listening?
Like what, Copper?
You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for Wild Pines? The shipping company you're striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions. Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder, even if it is a group responsibility. We're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us. Real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
unpromising race pupil returns. Racists are generally not very good examples of their race. Welcome to Revachol. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the fritter nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
You exhibit forward projection of the jaw, indicative of schizophrenia and sexual inaccountability. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, the dimple in your jaw makes you look like a baby. This is not craniometry, just an observation. It is impossible to see any more of your bone structure. It is covered in the ravages of Al-Hul. From what remain of your features, I can see fleshy lips, baldness of the head, and long arms relative to lower limbs. This leads me to conclude you are not a police officer. You are a common criminal, an offspring of murderers and sailors from Sur-la-Clé and Vesper, and possibly even the degenerate sheep herders of Ubi. Your racial heritage is uninteresting. It is the same as all Revacholians. Your parents and their parents made the decision to reproduce while under the influence of Al-Hul. That is the only reason you are here. And look, babe. The petulant rock'n'roll rebel thinks the racial synthesis exists to rankle his sensibilities. In his Hall of Mirrors existence, everything is insincere, even material.
I knew he wouldn't get it, John. He's like a cop or something.
You could have used this opportunity to overcome your narrow, Al-Hul ravaged identity. Instead of unlocking the race enigma, you attempted to add to it unsuccessfully. Take solace from the fact that these thoughts will never entirely leave your brain. They will be with you on the day you die. The only germ of heroism in your body. Now go. I have beauty and truth to discuss with my woman.
Damn, Jean, how are you so romantic?
Was there an out of this for you with success?
Stop showing me your pathetic cup. I have no interest in it.
He had nothing to do with it.
Yes? What about me? Good. What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So, he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary. Somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are two columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills.
Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist. Well, technically. The official record keeper has been known to double count murder-suicide.
A common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats.
I'm good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. Yes, I'm an unrepentant spoilsport.
It's all part of the master plan, you see.
Really? It can't be that. Wouldn't that be something? And who could say it's not true? If you really don't remember anything, how would you know? We should move. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to slight Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. I don't think I can say one way or another. I do think it's somewhat unlikely, though. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
Thank you.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Third officer, what's the number? And the make of the armor, if you know it. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is an inter-Isolari law enforcement service, the crown jewel in the moral intern diadem, alongside EPIS and the coalition government.
Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-9, over. 10-4, message received. This is a very serious situation. I need to 10-22 the captain. Over.
Any other good news?
He's saying he lost his badge.
He what? He lost his badge?
Who lost his badge?
Dick fucking Mullen. Who do you think?
It's Officer Dick Mullen from the bestseller Dick Mullen and the Lost Identity.
Dick Mullen is not your name. It's the name of a fictional detective who would not lose his badge. Defend yourself. Immediately. They're laughing at you.
He says this has probably happened to other policemen before him and laughs sarcastically.
Oh goddamn it! Is he fucking kidding? The whole station's gonna be dicked for this.
Satellite Officer Vikmar is wondering if you might be joking and adds that this tarnishes the reputation of the entire station. Over.
Mullen dicked us.
10-4, I hear you, officer. I'm just going to make a note here that you are in pursuit of your misplaced badge. Over.
Fuck me! Mac, come here! You've got to hear this! Dick Mullen lost his badge!
What's going on?
Super Cop here lost his badge.
He lost his what now?
His badge. He lost his goddamn fucking badge.
10-9, come again. I didn't get that. Over.
New heights even for Captain Sober.
Ask him. Ask him if he's lost his gun too. Sergeant Orson wants to know if you lost your gun too. Over.
Oh, fuck. Even before you can get the words out, everything gets scrambled in your brain.
He says he didn't lose his gun. Or his phone, whatever that means.
Ask him to describe it. His gun. Not his fun. Just the gun will do.
Satellite Officer McLean requests a description of your weapon. Over. He says it's just a regular gun.
Sounds like he's being deliberately vague.
Detective Mullen has done it again. Where's my gun?
Dear God, he lost his gun? Oh my, I can't.
This isn't really a laughing matter.
Mac can face a giant of Coco Noodle by himself, but Disco here made him piss his pants.
Oh, I can't. Fuck. He lost his... Ask him if he's still got his wiener. Oh, man. I'm not going to. Ask him. Sergeant Orson here is wondering if you are still in possession of your genitalia. Over.
The silence is almost deafening after you flick off the switch, severing the connection.
That did not go well. I guess the important thing is that you followed protocol and reported your lost items. Did we need anything else here?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box, a variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic, the kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work. Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster, Harry. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is blue. Alright, but these actually make your vision worse. It's like literally being underwater.
Wow, officer! You look so cool! And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
The lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have them for 2 real and 50 cents.
It's going to be very difficult for anyone to take you seriously with these things on your face.
No, you are definitely not buying those. No, I can't. We can't walk around with you looking like this. Okay, fine. Go ahead. If you want to look like a walking midlife crisis, then who am I to interfere?
A man who knows his style. Much.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes.
Don't be shy.
Save the economy? That sounds off. You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand, buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport. All in different typefaces.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies.
What do you see?
Fuck does Kuno care? Fucking right, pig. Kuno's filling bathtubs with that shit. Kuno, fuck no, pig. Kuno ain't dealing to the popo. Not doing the pork pen for your sad speed habit. You don't...
Belying the act, he's actually telling the truth. Or at least 0.00001% of it. He has a little speed. He's just not giving it to you.
Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno? The fuck do you want with it? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give the fuck about it. Kuno doesn't give a shit about the armor. That fucking had one thing majorly wrong with him. He's a fucking mutant. Do you remember how he looked? Fucking growth hormone shit. He's a giant. The armor's too big for any man. Kuno doesn't give a shit about that freak armor. Kuno threw that shit away. Kuno tried to get the helmet on. It was too big. Kuno kicked that shit in the sea, rugby style. That shit means nothing to Kuno. Yeah, that shit means nothing to Kuno. Kuno doesn't give a shit about material shit. Kuno's a fucking monk. You wanna fuck on someone about that armor? Go fuck the mustached union fuck. The jolly troubadour shit at the gates. Yeah, cock and boot. You know that jolly union cow fucker? Came around talking about cows or some shit? Came around pretending like he cares about cows?
Yes, you met him at the gates. The one with the boots and the jolly smile.
Yeah, he's the one you want to talk to. He's fucking crazy about that armor shit. Coming here pretending like he likes cows. Trying to catch a peep at Kuno's armor.
Curious, my liege. Why did Kuno feed you this information?
Yeah, Kuno's doing charity today. Kuno Day. Kuno feels sorry for you two loser pigs. Kuno's doing pity now.
Still, seems suspicious. He may have it in for that guy. Or you may be paranoid. That is also a possibility, sire.
Fuck are you talking about? What is this contusion shit?
He says you're stupid, Kuno. They want to make you stupid again.
Oh, did Kuno make your shit sniffing harder? Obstruction of shit sniffing? This is Kuno's kingdom. Kuno fucking rules here.
You hear the lieutenant hum.
You're testing Kuno's patience here.
Get lost!
The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come. Kuno doesn't fucking care.